All right, I want to get some clarity together for us here on what's been happening this morning. So for that, let's go to Michael McCann, legal analyst and writer for Sports Illustrated, and CNN senior media correspondent Brian Stelter. The president is tweeting, guys, about the NFL. Moments ago, this is what he said. If NFL fans refuse to go to games until players stop disrespecting our flag and country, you will see the change take place fast. Fire or suspend. First of all, Michael, is it legal for the president to entice a private entity to fire an employee?
Well, I think the president, ironically, has a First Amendment right here. He's complaining about another player really exercising his First Amendment right, but he himself has his own right to suggest changes. He can't compel the NFL to make that change or any team to.
He can make the statements publicly, but he couldn't go to the NFL and say, you need to fire this person.
That's exactly right. It's a private company that's not under the discretion of the president or any elected official.
Okay, so that's first and foremost. The other tweet that he just put out there as well a couple of minutes ago, NFL attendance and ratings are way down. Boring games, yes, but many stay away because they love our country. League should back the U.S. Brian, is there any accuracy to that?
I think it's false to say ratings are way down for the NFL. There have been some modest declines in the ratings in the last couple of years. It was actually the presidential election partially blamed last year. Folks were so interested in cable news coverage of the election. The ratings might have been down a bit. Yes, there have been some modest declines. The president said on Friday night the ratings are down massively. That's false. He said this morning way down. That's false. The biggest shows on TV are all NFL games. So yes, there are some issues for the NFL, but I don't think we can look at what's going on with the game or attendance and say, oh yeah, it's because fans hate those anthem protests. So many people that they're fleeing by the millions. There's some things going on around the edges, but it's not a major disaster for the NFL.
Okay. Michael, if a player was fired for kneeling, is that legal?
It's probably legal because NFL teams have very broad discretion in terms of whether they can cut a player, but the analysis is deeper than that in the sense that a player would have a right to arbitration to contest that. He could then file a federal lawsuit trying to override an arbitrator's decision. There's also the EEOC. There may be state laws that protect free speech. Potentially defamation law plays a role, but the takeaway is that it's probably legal just because player contracts give teams so much discretion.
Mm-hmm. And why is the president even bothering to tweet about this at all? I mean, Christy, I'm amazed that he's up tweeting about this morning. He's got a health care bill that seems to be going down in flames again. Why isn't he spending 100% of his energy on that? It's a curious topic, even though it is Sunday and everyone loves talking about football, for the president of the United States to be weighing in. And it can have a chilling effect, even though it can't compel a team to take action. It can have a chilling effect on free expression when you know the president is speaking out. Of course, the opposite's also true. We're going to see a lot of players today take a knee because they want to protest the president.
Mm-hmm. Brian, I'll be really honest with you. Victor and I noticed the look on your face. I think just a minute ago when you were reading the tweets, and we could tell you were trying to process what you were reading.
It's just, we're always confused by his use of Twitter, right? Whether it's about North Korea or this. There are some big issues on the president's plate. He's got ongoing recovery efforts in Puerto Rico, for example. I also oftentimes wonder if he's trying to get folks to talk about anything but Russia. But if I can just point out the president's Twitter power, his most prominent, popular tweet about sports yesterday was about Steph Curry. It had 60,000 retweets and 188,000 likes. LeBron James responding? LeBron had 600,000 retweets so far and 1.2 million likes. The president does have power on Twitter, but actually these athletes, I would argue they have even more power on Twitter.
Michael, to that you say what?
He's right. Brian's correct. This is not going to work for the president in the sense that if his goal is to get the NFL or teams to sanction or fire players for kneeling, the opposite is going to happen because teams have already come out on record embracing this. Even the commissioner, Roger Goodell, is not very popular among players. This, oddly enough, I think is linking him more closely to players in support of the right to protest. And as Brian mentioned, if the president's goal was to diminish this activity, the opposite's going to happen. We're going to see more players kneeling, more players protesting, even if they're not certain that they agree with the underlying point, they agree with the right to express views. And I don't think this is really the right approach. If the president wants to discourage this, I don't think this is going to work.
All right. Brian Stelter, Michael McCann, so grateful to have both of you here with us this morning. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Also, the backlash to the president's comments about protest